to educate people. Most of the time, you blame the politicians, but you fail to do our work to let people know their roles and their responsibilities.
In a goodwill, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, represented by CTU Force Headquarters, Abayomi Peters, vowed to bolster electoral security through collaborative effort involving multiple stakeholders in all upcoming elections.
This event for helping the police to carry out its statutory responsibilities. Of course, if we had elections and we have no lessons learned, then there is a problem.
The report also underscored the importance of multi-stakeholder collaboration in promoting peaceful election, which our report shows that it is not election security, it is not the sole responsibility of the security agencies.
The federal government has debunked the scrapping of the junior secondary school and senior secondary school education models in Nigeria. Recall that the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, at the 2025 extraordinary meeting of National Council on Education in Abuja, brought a proposal on 12-year education model of 6-year basic education, 3 years junior secondary school education, and 3 years senior secondary education. This proposal has been misconstrued by some stakeholders to mean the scrapping of the GSS and SSS education models. Correspondent Kulojo reports that the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, while clarifying the position of the government on the matters at a news conference, said the information was not true.
And I want to clearly clear the sensationalization that has gone out since yesterday, that the Federal Ministry of Education, the federal government, has scrapped a GSS and SS, primary school GSS and SS education. We have not. That still stays. What we're saying is that we need to move from what we have now as 9 years compulsory education to 12 years of compulsory education as it's obtained in other parts of the world. If you look back into the history of Nigeria, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, people that that went through the primary education then and got up to standard 6.
The minister declared that the ministry will ensure a well-informed decision and undertake extensive stakeholder engagements over the next 8 months, consulting widely with education policymakers, state government, teachers, parents, and other key players.
Compulsory education is sufficient for our children, and that's why we're thinking of proposing that we move to 12 years of compulsory education. And I want to reassure you, this will still stay within the ambit of our primary school GSS and SSS. What we're saying is that we should think about moving to 12 years of compulsory education. That will also be mandatory. That will be mandatory and free.
And now we have Success Ose Ogenel Charge, who is a public affairs analyst as well as mass communication lecturer at the Federal Polytechnic in Oregon, Delta State. She joins us from Warri to speak on proposal for the creation of 31 new states by the National Assembly as well as other issues. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Okay, all right. So the House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review has proposed creation of 31 new states in the country. If the proposals scale through, Nigeria will then be made up of 67 states. Do you think Nigeria needs state creation at this time? Or how will the federal government can better make lives of citizens? How can they make lives of citizens better this time?
Well, the proposal to create the 31 new states in Nigeria is a complex issue with various perspectives, considering the country's current economic and infrastructural challenges. This is actually debatable whether these states should be most created. But I think for me, instead of creating new states, the federal government should focus on improving the lives of citizens through infrastructural development. They talk about investing on roads, healthcare, education, and other infrastructural development to enhance the quality of life. The government can look into economic empowerment, implementing policies that promote economic and growth, job creations, and poverty reduction, good governance, ensuring transparency and accountability. I think the government should look into that aspect.
So some groups in Nigeria, like the Yoruba group Afenifere, Arewa in the north, and the former National Assembly members, they have described such proposals as ridiculous. Do you agree with this?
Regarding the criticism from this group of Afenifere, Arewa, and the National Assembly members, it is understandable that they might view the proposal as ridiculous, considering the country's existing challenges.
Okay, all right. Well, now that in Nigeria presently, most states depend on federal allocations to survive, and the National Assembly is still proposing more state creation. Do you agree with the school of thought that resources should be channeled towards the existing states rather than creating more?
I think the fact that most states currently rely on the federal government allocation to survive raises concern about the financial viability of creating additional states. It's logical to argue that resources should be channeled towards supporting the existing states rather than dividing them further. I think the government should focus on resolving those challenges.
Ikiora, we really thank you for sharing with us from the wealth of your experience. Thank you so much for joining us on Galaxy TV News.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, Success Ose Ogeneshoga. She is a public affairs analyst as well as a mass communication lecturer at the Federal Polytechnic in Ogogo, Delta State. Now moving on to other topics. Electricity workers in Ibadan have staged a second-day protest against the casualization of workers without formal employment, non-payment of hazard allowances, maltreatment of staff, and poor health scheme. The workers who occupied their recruitment outsourcing agent, Premier International Procurement Logistics, alleged that some employees had worked as casual workers for years, receiving meager salaries without prospect of full employment. The protesters also expressed concern about deductions from their salaries without remittance. Some of the workers who spoke with Galaxy News claimed that IBDC and their outsourcing recruitment agent are engaging them with undue labor without a commensurate payment to service rendered to the company. Efforts to speak with Managing Director of the outsourcing recruitment agent, Wale Adeniyi, proved abortive as he declined speaking with journalists after he addressed the protesting workers.
The people that actually have the employed today, just last year, they are collecting nothing less than 120,000, and the PIPA, the assets are collecting, they are even work more than that. Then you allow these assets where they are breaking billions of naira to IBDC with 50,000 naira. And if there is any issue right now, people will even see PIPA to defend us. You renew our employment every year. Why? Why? Condition of service through labor says when you have spent some years, you should be staffed. As some of us here that 13 years in this company organization, and the salary is still 50,000.
no increment, there's nothing. And also for our safety, it's very important, because if there's anything that happens to any of us, IBDC will not be responsible for it.
When IBDC is compensating their own staff, BIPLS should also be able to give us compensations, because we are doing better than their staffs. When you talk of IBDC staffs, the target they even give some IBDC staff is far lesser than what they give to us. You can imagine, as an outsourced staff being paid 50,000, they're giving you a target of 7 million naira in a month.
Workers of Ogun State Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company IBEDC have embarked on an indefinite strike. The strike, according to the workers, is aimed at non-implementation of the new minimum wage, non-remittance of pension and cooperative deductions, alleged disengagement of 70 staff, among other staff welfare concerns. Speaking with newsmen, the Vice President of National Union of Electricity Employees, Lagos Ogun Zone, Engineer Abiodun Shobayo, said the demonstration is to express their grievances. He noted that the workers were left with no choice than to embark on the indefinite strike, given the unwillingness of the IBEDC management to attend to their demands for the past 9 months.
For months now, for about 6-7 months now, the management has been owing staff. You know, according to the labor law, once you owe staff some parts of the salary, it's as good as you are owing them. Deductions were made and not were made from their salaries and not remitted. Our tax were not paid. Our cooperative deductions were not given to us. Even operating costs. People our staff are the ones using their own personal money to run the business.
You're still on to the news on Galaxy TV. Let's go on a break. When we come back, the news continues. Do stay with us. We are glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with folks on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with folks on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. National Association Union of Electricity Employees has declined all reconciliatory efforts to restore power after 5 days of total blackouts in Kaduna, Kebbi, Sokoto and Zamfara franchise states. The union have taken 2 actions, including cutting off power supply in these states and shutting Kaduna Electric's offices. The management of Kaduna Electric is saying it has accepted that it made a mistake in computing the exit packages of affected staff and is ready to sit with the unions to renegotiate, but pleads that power supply be restored as the renegotiation continues. However, the union said they will not restore supply in order to relieve people of the distress and hardship until the affected staff are recalled.
The management of Kaduna Disco threw caution to the wind, and they remain in their decision that there is nothing they can do. We are giving out this press release to let everybody, the MLC Kaduna State, other affiliates of our unions, to see that this man who has done this dastard act in Yola was so proud and full of himself to say he will do the same here.
And still in Kaduna State, the state government has intervened in ongoing industrial dispute between Kaduna Electric and its workers' union, which has resulted in power outage in all its franchise states for 5 days. The Deputy Governor, Dr. Adiza Balarabe, who hosted the meeting at Sir Kashim Ibrahim House, pleaded with the union to restore electricity to consumers as soon as possible because the outage has impacted negatively across all sectors. Dr. Balarabe implored the management and the union to find a common ground to ensure the resolution of their differences, as lack of power has badly affected homes, businesses, and with attendant security implications. She further said that the management and the workers of Kaduna Electric need each other and that they should continue to hold dialogue on a regular basis even when the present impasse has been resolved. Speaking earlier, Comrade Wisdom Chitinwachiko, the National Vice President Distribution of the National Union of Electricity Employees, said that the union is not against the downsizing of workers, but wants due process to be followed and all their entitlements paid. Edo State Governor Monday Okpebolo has flagged up his free malaria test treatment and drug distribution in the state. The exercise, which took place in Benin City, the state capital, is geared towards ensuring that the citizens are protected against increased cases of malaria-related deaths in the state. Speaking at the brief ceremony to commence the flag-off, the Edo State Governor said the goal of his administration is to eliminate malaria. The First Lady also reiterated the stand of the state governor.
Our goal is to eliminate malaria in Edo State. This support from Islamic Development Bank will help us achieve that, and with my commitment to affordable healthcare. Over the next 2 years, we aim to ensure 80% of pregnant women receive malaria prevention medication. 2, 95% of the people with fever for malaria.
Here to kick and knock malaria out. As I said, it's the first in the state. It's to let you know that this administration is open to everything good. And yesterday we added another name to the governor. We said it's Akbako Healthcare. So as it affects the citizens of Edo State, anything healthcare, we're in for it. Malaria, as common and as simple as we tend to make it, is a deadly disease. And from statistics, we heard today that Edolites have 30% of malaria, and we're saying we can drastically reduce it.
Now we move to the international desk for more news. This is news from the international scene. U.S. authorities are looking for a small plane carrying 10 people that have been reported missing in the state of Alaska. The U.S. Coast Guard for the Alaska region said a Sena caravan craft was 12 miles offshore on a flight from Unalakleet to Nome when its position was lost. The two cities are some 144 miles from each other across the Northern Sound, an inlet of the Bering Sea of Alaska's western coast. Search and rescue crews are working to get to the last-known coordinates of the flight, state officials said in a statement. They said they had been notified of an overdue aircraft operated by the airline Bering Air at 4 p.m. local time on Thursday. The 10 people on board comprised 9 passengers and a pilot. The update from the Alaska Department of Public Safety said there was no information immediately available about who was on board. The volunteer fire department in the London City Nome said that the pilot had told air traffic controllers that he intended to enter a holding pattern while waiting for the runway to be cleared. And that's it for now, but do join us at